Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Olson and I live in Minnesota with my husband and our 3 children, Sophie, Soren, and Svea. Sophie is 6 years old, Soren is almost 4, very soon here, and Svea is 7 months old. I love sharing about all things motherhood, homemaking, and homeschooling. Today we are talking about homeschooling yet again, and I'm really excited to share with you some of our favorite resources for art, poetry, and music for these younger learners. Now, a quick bit of background about me. I am a former elementary school teacher. I used to teach 3rd grade, and then I also taught Title I for several years, which was small group math and reading interventions. So I have some background in that realm, that area as well. I'm a stay-at-home mom and have been ever since my daughter was born, Sophie, and she is 6 now. We've actually homeschooled for quite a while now because I started Sophie back when it was the school year that she turned 3, and then I started Soren the school year he turned 3. Not pushing them super rigorously academically speaking, but just doing the sit down work with mama time and getting some of that preschool structure in our family's routines. And I love homeschooling, I love teaching our kids, and I am also a huge fan of sharing resources and our supplies and our books and curriculum recommendations with you. So hopefully today's video is helpful for you, and I grouped today's into art, music, and poetry just because they are all grouped together on our bookshelf, and I feel like we have a good amount of stuff to get through today, and it's all kind of in that arts and music, kind of humanities category. All right, we're going to start with poetry, and if you've seen my more recent video on our morning basket routine for fall 2023, this is in that video. This is called Classic Poetry and Illustrated Collection. It's got a lot of really great illustrations in it, and I don't know how young of a child it's made for, but it has worked just fine for our almost 4 and our 6-year-old. And it has poems like The Jabberwocky, it has poems like All the World's a Stage, which Soren has really enjoyed. So this is a great one just to have either in your morning basket or on your shelf so that you can reach for it and go through a poem with your children. Another little poem resource that's great to have, especially for younger learners, is this Children's Treasury of Nursery Rhymes. This one has a little label on it because this is from our Sunlight curriculum that we got years ago for Sophie. Instead of purchasing Sunlight curriculum's entire set for each grade level, I like to use it kind of as a book list. So this would be technically on that book list for preschool, which is age 3 and 4. So we've got a cute little nursery rhyme book here. I included it because, of course, nursery rhymes, even if they don't always properly rhyme, they have a lot of cute little rhymes and poems in here. If you are a fan of Arnold Lobel, who wrote Frog and Toad, I love Frog and Toad, we've got a book by him. It's a poetry book by him called The Frogs and Toads All Sang. It's not super long, but it's got really cute little poems written by Arnold Lobel. So I love having this one as part of our poetry collection too. And I want to mention I'm linking all of the books and resources for you down in the description box below. Here is a fabulous poem huge treasury. It feels like a huge treasury because it is a nature poem for every day of the year. It's called Sing a Song of Seasons. We love this one. We do not read it daily. I would love to be in the routine of reading one of these every day, and I suppose I should just pop it in my morning basket so we make that happen. We've been using that illustrated collection of poems instead. But this one is perfect. If you just want one poetry book to start out with, I would probably recommend this one. It has beautiful illustrations, and some of the poems are quite short, but they literally have one poem for every day of the year. There's a cute little ribbon bookmark in this book, and they have every month of the year, of course, and you can just walk through the book and read them all for fun, or you can go to August 31st and read the poem that is kind of assigned to that day. And it's a really beautiful book. So this is a great one to start out with if you need a poetry book to add to your homeschool collection. Just real quick, if I forgot anything from poetry, I don't think I did, but if I did, I will link it down in the description box below as well. So you can always check out the description box to make sure that there isn't anything that wasn't mentioned in the video. Okay, we're going to move on to art. We have multiple books in this collection. It's called Come Look With Me. It is the World of Art company, I believe, but I just call it the Come Look With Me series. And this one is specifically Art in Early America. I talked about this one specifically also in my morning basket video. They always put on one side or on one page the artwork or painting that you are kind of looking at and analyzing with your kids. And then there's some historical background and information about that piece, as well as several prompts and questions you can ask your kids. So you're just teaching a general appreciation for art and really observing and noticing different elements and techniques the artist used and kind of what feelings it evokes for your children. So this one I picked because we've done a lot of early America kinds of topics this year already, but I have some others I can show you too. We've got Come Look With Me Enjoying Art with Children. So this would be representatives of children, you know, showing children in paintings and in art. We've got this one, which I would actually probably recommend the most to start out with if you want one of these Come Look With Me books, because this one is called Animals in Art, and kids always love animals in art, I feel like. So we've got the painting on one side again, and the prompts and extra information if your children are interested in learning about that, or if they're a little older and need a little more information or background about the painting. So I would really recommend this Animals in Art book, but any of them are really good. I love this one because this is probably my favorite painting. This is called Landscape Art with Children. Here's one called Hunters in the Snow. We've looked at this one before at least a couple times. And just like all the other books in the series, you've got the painting on one side and information and questions on the other. So these are really, really fun books to have on hand, especially if you're not a parent or teacher who wants to get into tons of painting with your kids. If that's not your style, you can still sit and snuggle on the couch with your kids and look at good art and appreciate art like this. We do have a giant book it's called A Child's Book of Art. I haven't used this one as much, but it's kind of similar to those Come Look With Me books. It says opposites here at the top of the page. I'm trying not to get too much of a reflection. We've got awake, asleep, young, and old. So just basic concepts are in this book. We've got different colors, and it really exposes your child to a whole variety of different styles of art. So this is another good large reference book. It's called A Child's Book of Art. If you like learning about specific artists, this one is a good one. We've enjoyed it. It's called The Magical Garden of Claude Monet, and it's a fictional account. It says, when Julie creeps through a hole in a tall gate and enters a mysterious garden, she meets an old man tending the flowers. And he turns out to be Claude Monet, and together they are learning about this magical garden where he works and lives. So anyway, it's really fun. We've probably bent it a little bit, but there are some pages that open up in here. If you like Monet, this is a really great one to include in your homeschool collection. We don't have any others that talk about the other artists, but they've got Van Gogh here and they've got Picasso as well. So I might have to look into getting a couple more of these because they're really engaging and interesting for young children. I wanted to include Sophie's favorite crafting book. Sophie, my 6-year-old, is very into crafting. And this one is produced by The Good and the Beautiful. It's called Creative Arts and Crafts Projects, and they are pretty feasible. I'm not a huge crafting mom. I hate to say it, but we all have our different strengths and styles when it comes to teaching, and Sophie adores crafts. But a lot of these she has been able to do on her own, but this one we did a couple years ago together because you do need to purchase little things like felt or work through sewing a little pumpkin pouch. They have a lot of cute seasonal activities. We've also got dandelion art here where you use a Q-tip with white paint on yellow paper. So they're more simple crafts and really fun, especially I guess if you like to do crafts with your children. This one would be a really fun gift to give your child for Christmas this year, or to just buy for your homeschool collection when it comes to art. Another poetry book that we've liked is this one called Poetry Parties. This is produced by The Good and the Beautiful, where we get a good amount of our homeschool curriculum, and they always make things so beautiful and sweet. It's basically a cute little structure, a little booklet that allows you to plan a little poetry party. So they've got crafts in here. I was trying to find it, but I can't talk and look at the same time, it seems. But they have little poems that you can read at your poetry party. And then they have butterfly cinnamon toast here. So it's a very sweet little way to put together some poetry appreciation, maybe something you could do on Fridays or once a month or with friends even in your homeschool co-op. So poetry parties for littles is a very sweet way to incorporate poetry into your homeschool. The Good and the Beautiful also makes really nice drawing books. I think we have 2 drawing books. It says for all ages, and this one is called Drawing 100 Types of Trees. Well, it's fun and easy trees. Let me see if I can show you how the instruction pages look. They are very simple because we've got a tree here, another tree, another tree. So they really do go through 100 types of trees, but they have different steps for your child to follow. And Sophie has enjoyed this one. We have this one and I think the birds one, which I did not pull for today's video, but we have enjoyed having these in Sophie's quiet time bin as well. So she does these during the afternoons on her own too. We have a wonderful book called Discovering Great Artists, and this one is a really great way to delve into the different styles of famous painters. So this one, oh, I found Monet again. This one talks about his style and a little background information and a painting on the left, and then on the right, this is kind of hard to hold. On the right, we've got how to do his style. So they tell you what supplies or materials you might need, and then they teach you how to do his style. This one doesn't say, I think, oh, it says ages 4 and up. We need to delve into this one even more, but we've got Georgia O'Keeffe and close-up flower paintings, which I remember doing in elementary school too. So all sorts of styles and artists for you to explore. It's called Discovering Great Artists. This is a great reference book for you to keep on your shelf or maybe in your arts and crafts area of your home. Another great reference book for teaching drawing is this book by Mona Brooks. Yep, Mona Brooks, and it's called Drawing with Children. This was recommended to me by a friend, and I love how well this woman teaches you how to teach your children how to draw. And you can do it right alongside your kids too. The author scaffolds this book very well for learners of different abilities and ages, and she teaches you as the teacher how to exactly let your child explore with the different materials, or maybe to pick this sort of a color or draw this sort of a line, and she'll tell you what kind of a fine-tipped or broad-tipped marker to choose. So it's a great reference book to have as a teacher, as a parent, if you're like me and you're not super confident in your own drawing or painting skills, because she does such a good job of teaching you how to teach art. I also want to mention, in terms of art, if you want to know what's all in our art cart, I have a video I can link down below about our minimal homeschool organization at our apartment. We actually live in 2 different places throughout the year, but in that video of how I organize our homeschool stuff at the apartment, I walk you through everything that is in our art cart. And I would definitely recommend you check out that video so you can see what all we use for art supplies on a regular basis. Next, we're going to get into music resources. If you've heard of Squilt, Squilt stands for Super Quiet, Uninterrupted Listening Time. I have a folder here that I compiled from a unit that I purchased from the Squilt website and printed out the resources inside. I got the one, this says orchestra flashcards. I got the one called, I think it's called Meet the Orchestra. Oh, Meet the Instruments, excuse me. And we have all of our little instrument flashcards laminated in there. So it's a whole unit on the orchestra and orchestra instruments that I bought for, I think, about $16 on their website. It's a standalone unit. They do have other memberships and subscription services that you can do. So you have all sorts of new music content and lessons coming in. Since my kids are still pretty young and I didn't get super into Squilt yet, I wanted to buy this standalone unit, and you can look through their site for other standalone units about different composers and things like that. We also have a book called Meet the Orchestra. This is just one that I think I picked up at a garage sale or a thrift store, and we've liked going through this one kind of in conjunction with our Meet the Orchestra unit. We also have this fun book called The Story Orchestra, 4 Seasons in One Day, and it is a fiction story of a girl experiencing 4 seasons in one day. I turned to a difficult page to show you. So this actually has those buttons in the back, so if you press through all of the pages, you will hear different parts of Vivaldi's song the four seasons. So we really love the four seasons, and this has been interesting for our kids to go through. This next book is Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf. I love Peter and the Wolf. It also kind of scared me a little as a kid, so you can determine whether or not it's too intense for your child. But Peter and the Wolf is a great story that has music that Prokofiev wrote to go along with it. And this book, I believe, came with a CD. Yep, it came with a narrated CD. But you can even just look up on Spotify the story of Peter and the Wolf, and I will try to link that down below for you as well if you don't even have a book to go with it, or you don't even need a book to go with it if you just want your kids to close their eyes and listen. So Peter and the Wolf is a really great one for starting out some music appreciation. This next resource for teaching music is probably more for you as the parent, as a reference book, but I could definitely see this working really well with older kids, and you can photocopy and discuss it with your older students too. It's called Then Sings My Soul, and it is a collection of 150 hymns. So on one side, they've got the hymn and the actual music, so you could prop that open and play it, or photocopy it and pass it around. And then on the right side, they talk about the background information or the backstory of different hymns, which is just really touching and encouraging to see. This is one of my favorites, so I opened to Be Thou My Vision, but I have really loved paging through this book. I wanted to include more hymn study in our homeschool time, especially as the years go on, and I didn't know how much I'd be able to accomplish it this school year when we have a kindergartner and a second-year preschooler and a new baby who's now 7 months old. But anyway, I have been working with the kids on This Is My Father's World to start out with, and we've really enjoyed it. And this is just a book, though, that I want to continue to pull out over the years as time goes on. So definitely consider putting Then Sings My Soul in your music collection for homeschool. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful for you to see our art, music, and poetry resources and things that we like to pull from. And hopefully you found some things that you might want to work into your own homeschool rotation for your family. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I would be so honored if you would hit that subscribe button. I have a little goal that I want to meet for the end of 2023 in terms of how many YouTube subscribers I have, and you can help me meet that goal by subscribing and sticking around. I would be so glad if you did. I also wanted to mention quickly that I have an online motherhood and homemaking course, and it is called the Present Mama Playbook. If you're looking to climb out of some of that overwhelm that comes as part of our motherhood journey, and you want your home to run smoothly, and you'd also like fresh perspectives on motherhood, then the Present Mama Playbook is the place for you, because we delve into all sorts of strategies and routines and all sorts of tips and tricks for you in your motherhood journey. I would love it if you would join us for our next session of the Present Mama Playbook. Enrollment is not open right now, but you can join the waitlist down below. That way you will not miss out when I announce that we are open for enrollment again. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.